You think charm is harmless, that the smile of a sociable friend is genuine. Fools. The most dangerous weapons are not daggers. They are invitations, laughter, and false warmth. In this video, I will reveal how sociability is used not to befriend you, but to undress your mind, to weaken your guard, and ultimately to control you. Let others play games. You will play them better. Men are rarely what they appear to be. And in the salons of the polite and the sociable, deception wears perfume. The crowd celebrates openness and charm, but the wise ruler studies the faces behind the mask. Sociability is not virtue. It is strategy, often deployed by those too weak to rule openly but clever enough to manipulate silently. In this dark mirror I offer you, you will see how friendly behavior is the perfect camouflage for domination, and how to arm yourself against it. If you are tired of being disarmed by flattery, paralyzed by smiles, and betrayed by the charming, then listen closely. This is not advice for the meek, but for those who prefer clarity over comfort, power over popularity. They don't need a throne to rule you. They only need a smile. In every court, every circle, every digital space you inhabit, there is one type of person you must always watch closely, the likable one. The one who listens just enough, laughs at the right moment, says all the things you want to hear. But here is the truth: most people wear sociability like armor, not to protect themselves, but to invade you. Why do you think the most dangerous rulers in history were charming? Caesar knew how to disarm the Senate with grace before crossing the Rubicon. Borgia kissed hands by day and slit throats by night. But let's not drift into history too quickly. You've met them yourself, haven't you? The coworker who always checks in just before the promotion. The friend who showers you with support until they know enough to use your own story against you. They smile, they flatter, they share, and they learn, because sociability is not kindness, it is access. And once someone has access to your comfort, your routines, your emotional rhythm, they no longer need to fight you. They can steer you. Now ask yourself this: how many of your thoughts are truly your own? How many of your opinions, your reactions, even your alliances, were shaped by someone who simply made you feel safe? Sociable people do not always act from malice, but that makes them more dangerous, not less, because their manipulation is often unconscious. A learned instinct, honed through years of rewards for being agreeable. You lower your defenses because they're just being nice. And that is the exact moment they step inside the gates. Let me give you a historical image. Imagine the court of Louis XV, the Sun King, a ruler who understood, better than most, that power is not always exerted through command. He surrounded himself with nobles, flatterers, and performers. He forced them to compete not on the battlefield, but in the ballroom. They dressed to impress. They gossiped for favor. They used sociability as their sword. Why? Because charm allowed them to survive. And in survival games, those who smile best often kill first. Psychologically, sociability manipulates through what is known as reciprocity bias. When someone is warm to you, you feel obligated, subconsciously, to return the favor, to trust them, to share, to align. But what happens when that person is also tracking your habits, your insecurities, your fears? What happens when your own openness becomes the blueprint for your exploitation? Do you see now? The more sociable they are, the more careful you must become. It is not paranoia, it is self-preservation. You must train your eyes to pierce the mask. Watch what they laugh at. Observe who they never criticize. Listen not just to their words, but to what they choose to leave out. Sociability is often used to blur truth, to prevent friction, to control through consensus rather than confrontation. And here's the sinister parting: it works. Because human beings are tribal, And the tribe always welcomes the friendly, the agreeable, the charismatic, even when that charisma is a lie. Now you may ask, should I become cold, distrusting, cut everyone off? No, that would make you weak in another way. Isolation is not strength. It is blindness of a different kind. Instead, become a reader of masks. Learn to converse, to smile, to blend in, without being seduced by the warmth of others. Speak, but measure their reaction. Listen, but never give away the structure of your mind. Let them reveal their strategy before you play yours. Because when someone hides behind sociability, they are declaring one truth: they are playing a game. And if you don't recognize the game, you are the one being played. The question is, how do they weaponize charm to manipulate your emotions directly? That, my friend, is the next layer of the trap. They don't need chains to control you. They only need to make you feel understood. Charm is not always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet nod, a well-timed glance, a story that mirrors your own. You feel seen, and that is the trap. Let us speak plainly. The most powerful manipulators are not cruel. They are warm. They read you faster than you read yourself. They reflect your values, mimic your energy, and say just enough to make you think, finally, someone gets me. And the moment you feel emotionally connected, you surrender control. Why? Because emotion bypasses logic. It turns a suspicious mind into a loyal one, a guarded soul into an open book. Ask yourself, have you ever told someone too much, too soon, simply because they felt easy to talk to? Have you ever trusted a charming figure only to discover too late that their kindness had a purpose? This is emotional leverage, and it is one of the most efficient forms of psychological domination. Throughout history, great figures have used it with surgical precision. Consider Cleopatra. She did not conquer Rome with armies. She conquered its leaders. First Julius Caesar, then Mark Antony. Each one seduced not just by beauty, but by an emotional narrative tailored precisely to their desires, their ambitions, their egos. Cleopatra made powerful men feel powerful with her, and so they trusted her, even as their empires burned. Do you think you are too smart to fall for this? Let me remind you, intelligence does not protect you from emotion. If anything, your ego, your belief in your ability to read others, is your greatest vulnerability. The more confident you are in your discernment, the easier it is for someone to feed you the illusion you want to see. And here's the deeper truth: most manipulators are not playing a role. They believe their own charm. They believe their own stories, which makes their sincerity feel real, because it is, just long enough to serve a purpose. Psychologically, this tactic exploits what is known as emotional mirroring. When someone reflects your mood, your interests, your tone, your struggles, you instinctively bond. It feels like chemistry. In reality, it is calibration. They study you. Then they shape themselves to fit the mold of your emotional ideal. Not because they love you, not because they respect you, but because it gives them leverage. Let me show you how this works in your world. Imagine a social leader. Charismatic, generous, emotionally expressive. They compliment you in public. They support your work. They share vulnerable stories to connect. Soon, you feel loyal. Not just to them, but to their image of you. You feel indebted. You defend them when others question their motives. You silence your own doubts to preserve the bond. And just like that, your rational mind is on a leash. They have not forced you. They have not threatened you. They simply made you feel good about yourself. And now, you will do almost anything to keep that feeling alive. The most strategic manipulators understand this deeply. They never attack your logic directly. They seduce your identity. They build an emotional bond, then twist it into a leash. So, what should you do? You must watch the effect people have on your emotions. When someone makes you feel unusually validated, suspiciously heard, or overwhelmingly understood, pause. Ask, what did I just reveal? What are they doing with what I gave them? What do they gain by bonding with me emotionally? Do not be hypnotized by charm. Instead, measure its function. Charm is not the danger. Your unguarded reaction to it is. Once they have emotional leverage, they can move you like a puppet, and you'll thank them for the strings. But emotional control is only the second layer of the strategy, the lie. The most skilled predators don't just soften your mind, they hide their attack behind humor. They strike while laughing. They win while appearing harmless. That, my friend, is the smile of the predator, and it waits for you in the next chamber. It's not the loud enemy you should fear. It's the one who laughs with you. The predator no longer wears claws. They wear conversation, a well-fitted suit, a charming grin that asks all the right questions but reveals nothing in return. This is the modern battlefield. Social, subtle, strategic. You must learn to see past the smile, because beneath it lies a map of intentions, manipulation, and slow-moving conquest. Let me ask you, how many people in your circle do you truly understand? Now reverse the question. How many people understand you, without ever showing their own hand? In every group, there is one, sometimes more. They play the part of the peacekeeper, the jester, the helpful one. They build trust quickly, disarm suspicion early, and make others feel safe. And yet they never get criticized. They never get exposed. They are liked by everyone, too liked. That is not popularity. That is social insulation, a shield built through strategic charm. History is littered with such figures. Take Talleyrand, the infamous diplomat of Napoleonic France. He survived regime after regime, revolution after collapse. Why? Because he mastered the art of appearing non-threatening. He played the fool, the confident, the quiet advisor. But behind the scenes, he pulled strings, brokered betrayals, and shaped the course of nations. While others fought for the throne, Talleyrand stood behind it. Smiling. There is a psychological principle at play here, strategic ambiguity. These predators never reveal too much. They keep their opinions vague, their allegiances flexible, their emotions muted, unless it serves a purpose. They let others speak first. They gather information. They store weaknesses like coins. Then, when the time is right, they spend them. You've seen this. The coworker who plays dumb in meetings, but somehow always ends up with the best project. The friend who listens to everyone's secrets, but never shares their own. The social butterfly who never gossips openly, yet knows everything. They're not floating, they're fishing. The predator's smile is designed to lower your guard, to invite disclosure, to make you laugh while they learn. That's the genius. They make you feel like you're winning, while you're slowly bleeding information, not because you were tricked, but because you were comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of caution. Now, how do you spot them? Start with what they don't say. Observe how often they redirect questions, how rarely they show real emotion, how carefully they select their words when the topic is sensitive. Notice their silences. A predator will let others argue, expose, and reveal, while they sip quietly and calculate. They're often liked by both sides of a conflict, because they offer no position, just presence. They give the illusion of neutrality, when in fact, they are building leverage from both ends. In psychology, this is the art of triangulation, creating multiple alliances without committing to any, feeding both wolves and sheep, always ensuring that they remain essential. So what must you do? You must train your eyes to catch the hesitation behind the laugh, to feel the weight of conversations that seem too light was the lie, to question why someone is being so effortlessly agreeable, Because nobody is that agreeable unless they want something. Be especially cautious of the one who offends no one, who criticizes nothing, who never disagrees in public. That is not kindness. That is calculation. Power often wears politeness as its cloak, not to comfort others, but to conceal intent. You must understand this. The most dangerous person in the room is rarely the loudest. It's the one who watches, listens, smiles, and waits. They will make you feel seen until you forget to see them. So next time someone seems perfect, too easy to trust, too smooth in their words, too aligned with everyone, ask yourself this: what are they hiding behind that smile? And more importantly, what are you revealing by believing it? But understanding the smile is not enough, because the predator isn't only silent, they're persuasive. They lead with charm, but finish with control. And in the final act, they don't just learn your secrets. They make you act against your own interest and think it was your idea. You've seen how they use charm. You've learned how they exploit emotion. You've studied the smile that hides a blade. Now, it's your turn. You don't defeat manipulation by retreating. You beat it by understanding its mechanics, then using them with precision. The knave think power lies in confrontation. The wise know it lies in impression management. Sociability isn't weakness. It's not submission. It's camouflage. To the fool, warmth is a moral gesture. To the strategist, it's a mask for advantage. You want to disarm your rivals. Start with your tone. Want to extract secrets. Make others feel seen. Want control. Appear harmless. Let me show you what that looks like. Picture the Renaissance court, a place of games, alliances, betrayal. In such a place, a sword can't protect you, but a well-played compliment can. A laugh at the right moment can secure your position better than 1,000 proclamations. The powerful survived not by shouting their will, but by whispering in ears others trusted. Cesare Borgia understood this. He didn't merely conquer cities with force. He seduced them into compliance. He entertained the nobles, smiled at the clergy, and made even his enemies feel chosen. By the time they realized the trap, their fate had already been sealed. That is what sociability offers you. Voluntary surrender. People do not fight what they feel aligned with. They follow it, even when it leads them to their own disadvantage. Now, ask yourself, have you ever used charm intentionally? Not as flattery, but as strategy. Have you ever agreed publicly to gain silence privately? Nodded in a meeting, not because you agreed, but because it bought you time to move in shadows. This is not hypocrisy. It is positioning. You must learn to use sociability like a blade wrapped in silk, smooth, graceful, precise. Start with presence. When you enter a room, do not demand attention. Absorb others' torpid. Let them reveal. They'll mistake your silence for humility. Let them. Then, deliver your words as gifts, rare, thoughtful, controlled. People value what is scarce. So make your approval scarce. Make your interest feel earned. And when you finally show warmth, they'll cling to it, because they'll believe it's real. That belief is your leverage. Here's a tactic few understand: strategic vulnerability. Tell a story. Something personal, believable, but measured. Not to bond, but to bait. Watch what they offer in return. Their confessions, their doubts, their mistakes. They think you're building trust, but you're building intel. This is emotional espionage. You smile, and they give the key to their fortress. They never suspect the weapon came dressed as connection. And still, you maintain deniability, because sociability, when done right, leaves no fingerprints. This is how real power operates. Not through dominance. Through direction. Not through force, but frictionless influence. You don't need to destroy your enemies. You need to let them invite you in. And then, when the moment is right, You turn the room in your favor without raising your voice. That is the apex form of manipulation, the game where you win, and no one knows they've lost. But remember, just as sociability can be weaponized to gain control, it can be used to mask destruction. You are not the only player. Others are studying you now. They are watching your eyes, listening to your tone, assessing your posture. You think you are manipulating, perhaps. But what if they are letting you feel in control? In the next chamber of strategy, we go deeper into the war behind perception, where both predator and prey wear the same mask, and the most dangerous figure is not the one who speaks, but the one who orchestrates the silence. Power does not scream. It whispers, it laughs, it listens. The greatest control is not when others fear you. It's when they trust you, obey your, and never realize why. You do not need to conquer their bodies. You only need to occupy their minds. With charm, with presence, with silence. Master sociability not as virtue, but as camouflage. Smile while calculating. Laugh while extracting. Be agreeable while advancing. Isn't it easier to lead the willing? To have others hand you their loyalty? Without demand, without resistance. This is the art. Control, concealed as connection. Dominance, dressed as diplomacy. So ask yourself, are you still being played? Or have you finally begun to play? If these truths unsettled you, good. It means they touched something real. Now sharpen your thinking. Leave a comment below. What mask have you seen lately? Subscribe for more strategies carved from power, not fantasy. And if you know someone still ruled by charm, share this with them. Let them wake up, or let them remain useful. The choice, as always, is yours.